Hi, my name is Angela Duffy, and I work as a Senior Disability Specialist for the Resource Center for Autism and Developmental Delays. I hope you enjoyed part 1 of the social narratives video. In part 2, we're going to talk about how to write a social narrative. To write a social narrative for your child, you should use materials that you have around the home. If you don't have a printer or laminator, you can use paper, a pen or pencil to write with, and then crayons, colored pencils, or markers to color in the pictures and make it a little bit more colorful and fun. This is one example of a social narrative I did. You saw this in part 1 of the video. If you want, you can take paper and fold it in half and then staple it along the edges. This is a social narrative I wrote about wearing a mask when we go outdoors. My daughter is going to help me draw and then color in the pictures on each page. So we'll draw a mask on the cover page, and then as we start the story, the first page, it says, "Sometimes things change. One of these changes is that I have to wear a mask when I go outside of my house." So we're going to work on drawing a picture of what it looks like when we go outside of the home and we wear a mask. So this is a very easy and accessible way of making a social narrative. If you do have a printer and laminator at home, you can use different word processing programs to put together a social narrative. You can use Microsoft Word or Publisher, or even PowerPoint. There's also a program called BoardMaker that you can use to make a social narrative. I know I find plenty of social narrative examples online that are printable as well. If you do decide to make your own, keep in mind that if you need to find images, pictures, Google Images is a really good place to get different clip art as well as other photos. You can also use your own photos, like from your phone, and just upload the photos to the computer, and then you can, just put the photos into the social narrative. When we're writing the social narrative, we need to make sure to write in first person point of view. So we'll be using I for the pronouns in the social narrative. For example, we would say, "I can wear a mask." Even if you're reading this to your child, it's very important that you still use the word I. The story is about them and for them, and writing in first person point of view is going to be most meaningful for your child. When we're writing our social narratives, we need to make sure to focus on the positive. So we're going to be writing about what the child should be doing, not what they should not be doing. So instead of saying "no running in the house," we should say, "I walk in the house, I can run in the yard." It's very important that we're telling the child what to do rather than what not to do. When writing our social narratives, we should use different types of sentences. Those types of sentences are descriptive, perspective, directive, and affirmative sentences. And I'm going to go through each type of sentence to tell you what they are. So the first type of sentence is a descriptive sentence. Now, a descriptive sentence is going to answer various WH questions, like where will the activities occur, who is involved, and what will happen. For example, some descriptive sentences might be, "I have circle time every day." Circle time is for listening and learning new things. Sometimes I talk during circle time when it is not my turn. So these descriptive sentences are giving the child a better understanding of what is happening. The next type of sentence are perspective sentences. Now, perspective sentences describe the reactions and feelings of your child and of other people. This is really important for our children to know because oftentimes children with autism don't pick up on how other people are feeling. They might not understand how other people might be feeling in the situation because of their difficulties with reading facial expressions and making inferences during different situations. They also might have difficulty understanding how they're feeling themselves. So some different types of perspective sentences are, and I'm going to carry on with the whole circle time theme, not raising your hand during circle time. If I talk when the teacher is talking, the teacher will be upset because I'm not paying attention to her. So here we're, giving the perspective of the teacher. And then also other kids might get upset because they can't hear the teacher. So here we're giving the perspective of the other kids in the class. Another type of sentence is a directive sentence. These actually tell your child what to do in the situation. So an example of a directive sentence using our circle time story, I will try to listen to the teacher during circle time so I can learn new things and have fun. If I want to talk, I will try to remember to raise my hand and wait quietly to be called on. Finally, another type of sentence that can be used in our social narratives are affirmative sentences. Affirmative sentences confirm that the social situation or your child's actions are positive. So to finish up our circle time social story, we could say circle time is fun. Again, I would probably only put that in if you thought your child enjoyed circle time and thought it was fun. But another affirmative sentence we can use, and this should be true for most children, you can say in your social narrative, I can be proud of myself when I remember to listen to the teacher. And, all our kids, they should be proud of themselves when they are following directions and, listening to the teacher. So I think that's something we can definitely put in this social narrative. When writing our social narrative, we want to follow specific guidelines. We don't want to have all directive sentences. We don't want to have all perspective sentences. We want to have a good mixture of sentences. So if you can, when you're writing yours, try to have one directive sentence for every 2 to 5 descriptive and or perspective sentences. So that one directive sentence could be, I can raise my hand in circle time. And then the 2 to 5 descriptive or perspective sentences, remember descriptive sentences answer those WH questions. So they're going to describe the situation to the child. And then the perspective sentences are going to explain what other people involved in the situation, as well as your child, how they are feeling and what their reactions could be. This ends part 2 of our training on social narratives. So now you should have a better understanding of how to write a social narrative. I really encourage you to go out there and try writing a social narrative, and then try writing another, because the more you write, the better you will get at writing these social narratives. If you have any more questions, or if you want to share with me any of the social narratives that you've written, I encourage you to email me at aduffy@uic.edu. And for the Resource Center for Autism and Developmental Delays, my name is Angela Duffy, and I appreciate you watching the video.